welcome and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to TEKNOPEN 3.3 2021, organized by Sektor, Sumber, Pendidikan, Negeri Sabah. My name is Helita Giok alias Lily Natasha Abdullah, and currently I am teaching at SMK Tebobon, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Today I would like to share a simple intervention of mine, I+4Cs, template and gestures writing technique, engaging unenthusiastic students to write at least 5 paragraph essays. My issues concern. I had 4 major problems with my students. First, very weak in directed writing, paper 1 section A. So this writing technique is especially designed to help my student to write essay for their directed writing, paper 1 section A. Next, they have problems in organizing their points accordingly, which sometimes missing of intro, contents were everywhere, and sometimes there is no conclusion. They could not distribute the points given in the question into 5 paragraphs at least, and usually they chunk every point in the question in 1 or 2 paragraphs only. Look at the sample. These are my target group. There were 19 students, 10 boys and 9 girls, mostly low achiever or below average student. And my research objectives. There are 2. First is general objectives, increasing students' directed writing skills and their confidence in English subject so that they can perform better in their writing. And my specific objectives, effectiveness of I+4Cs, template and gestures, technique in helping students to answer directed writing essay. Usually, for this particular section in paper 1, students will be given question in the forms of article, report, talk, and also letters with specific format. And my next objective is assisting students to write at least 5 paragraph essay accordingly. That is, they, at the end of the intervention, will be able to write an intro, contents in few paragraphs, and a conclusion at the end. My data analysis methodology was based on qualitative research, where my tools and instruments I use initial survey, students' work, and photographs and video recording. And this is my action research model, Chemist and McTaggart, 1988. And this is the template. It is especially divided into 5 paragraphs. First part is especially for the introduction, the content divided into 3 paragraphs, and 1 paragraph at the end is the conclusion. So that's what the I+4Cs stands for. I stands for introduction, content. Second paragraph is to write the first content points, and students need to complete the points and write in paragraphs. And then next paragraph, paragraph 3, to write the second content topic, where they have to complete the points and write in these paragraphs. And the next paragraph for another content, for paragraph 4, write the third content point, and then they still need to complete the points given and write in this particular paragraphs. And of course, the end is the conclusion, where they will write the overall concluding statement or conclusion, a short comments opinion in 1 to 3 sentences about the topic given and a reflection to own life. So I've already taught my students how to write and how to complete the sentences or the points given in the question. They were already being exposed to the question. It was just that they couldn't distribute their points, their essay properly, with proper introduction, contents, and conclusion. And I also remind them in this template that they should only talk about 1 to 3 points in each paragraph and do not repeat these points in the next paragraph. And it comes together with the gestures. These, the gestures, the gestures signify the I plus forces with the movements of their hands so that they will be able to remember the template. So every time they started to write their essay, they will remember the I plus forces acronym so that they will know when they start writing, they must have an introduction, divide the content points into 3 paragraphs, and the ending should have a conclusion. Look at the sample question. This is a sample questions, especially for paper 1, section A. Look into the content points given. They were usually not complete yet. So I taught my student to complete the sentence so that it will become a sentence which is giving meanings and not just chunky in everything inside the paragraph. They must be taught, they're already being taught how to complete the sentence before they go to this process. So students were already exposed on how to complete the sentence before they write it in a proper paragraphs. So that was the function of the I plus forces. So overall, by using the sample question given just now, we should be able to see the layout of the essay. First, introduce the topic. For example, the question just now was about Oprah Gail Winfrey, a famous television host. So there will be a brief introduction. I taught my students to write at least 3 sentences in this particular paragraph, a simple one. For example, Oprah Gail Winfrey is a famous television host. Those simple and short sentences that were easy to write. Then go to the next paragraph. Paragraph 2, the content part. Here, you write the first 3 points in this paragraph in complete sentence. Next content paragraph, for you to write a complete points, the complete points and in paragraph by referring to the points given in the question. So you put it here in this next paragraph. So I taught my student to divide, to complete the sentence, put it into this paragraph, 3 paragraphs at least, or they can write more if they want. But this was just the layout. So the first 3 paragraphs, after the introduction part is especially for the student to write their content points. Simple and short sentences. And the last part, paragraph 5, is a conclusion statement, especially for the whole topic that they have written in that particular essay. It can be a simple sentence also as a conclusion from the explanation that I have given about Oprah Winfrey. We cannot deny that she was in fact a personality that is famous and great in the eyes of the world. We can say that indeed a person like that should be a good example in our life. So I taught my student to write this simple sentence just to conclude the first, second, third, and fourth paragraph that they have written before. Remember, I reminded my students to remember that contents paragraph should only talk about 1 to 2 points or 3 points, and do not repeat the points in the next paragraph. So whenever the students were writing the content part, they should properly divide it into the paragraph, especially for the content part. And of course, the gestures. Especially for these students of mine, I want them to remember, I want them to always remember that whenever they start to write, they must remember to start with the I, with 4 contents, the 4 C's. And how to remember that is by having these gestures. I ask them to remember to do the gestures. I plus 4 C's. I plus 4 C's. Remember, when to write, whenever you start writing, I remind them, make sure your introduction contains points divided into 3 paragraphs and a conclusion at the end of your essay. The implementation of this intervention is from March to April, a 1-month cycle where I have this first, second, third, fourth week with the proper implementation period in the class. So this is the implementation in class, how I expose my students to this technique. You can refer to the picture and to the sharing that you can see on the board. So let us look at the implementation activities. Look into the first picture, a second picture, third picture, and the fourth picture. You can see that they are using their ruler to divide the A4 size paper or their essay book paper into 5. I purposely did that so that they will remember that whenever they start writing, they must have these 5 divider. First, introduction. Second, content point. 3 first content points. Next, another content points. Next, another content points. And the last one is a conclusion. So along this process, I taught and I showed my student how to complete the sentence so that as time goes by, they will be able to complete a proper essay answers. So in the beginning, they will have all this template divided into 5. The paper divided into 5. But as they became better, they didn't need the template anymore because they had become an independent writer. At the end of the process, at the end of the implementation, I asked them to share and video them of what they thought about the process of writing that they had learned for the 1 month. So there, you can see in the picture, they were showing their complete product. Of course, it was not an easy journey, but if you do it many times, all the trial and errors, at the end of the day, surely the students will do better.
I stand for introduction. I use technique I+4C for my essay. Introduction, containment, content 3, and conclusion. That is how I write my essay by using I+4C.
Says this was the impact. The before, only some. Okay, I took a few examples here. 1 paragraph only. They could only write 1 paragraph essay. Some can write more, but with all the notes and points jumbled up here and there with many errors and mistakes. After the completion of 1 month implementation, you can see that they can write better. First, they have the template, and later they have it in a forms of a proper essay writing product. So if you look into the journey, of course you will see a huge difference of work. Even though students still made a lot of mistakes at the end of the product, but they have shown a better performance and better response to the question. This was the pre-test and post-test scoring. In the beginning, mostly single number, very low marks. The full marks for this particular paper, section A, is 35 marks. 35 marks. And this is the full scoring, of course, for paper 1 and paper 2. Okay? In the beginning, they could only score 8 marks in the UGM. For example, my respondent 1, UGM 1, UGM only 8 marks. Okay? Mid-year 18 marks, getting better. Final, this person was absent, but in the real SPM 2016, this respondent managed to pass his paper. As I mentioned earlier, my target group was low achiever or below average students. So having them just pass with the minimum grade was already a satisfaction to me. Achievements of this paper. Well, that's all from me. Thank you very much for being with me this afternoon. What the child is able to do in collaboration today, he will be able to do independently tomorrow. Let us together try our best to serve and to help our students to become a future generation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.